extension like this.
Correct.
Yeah.
Okay. So you always do the opposite of whatever the muscle does. Okay. The peroneals, where are they? Okay. What do they do primarily? So how would you stretch them?
Inversion.
Good. Okay. Make sense? Now do me a favor. Let's take off this shoe so we can see some cool socks. Look at that. All right. If I want to stretch the extensors of the big toe, how would I do that?
Curl the toes.
Okay.
No.
Now he's got good. Look at that. It looks like almost broken. Okay. But here, and then you squeeze. Okay.
Ooh, you feel it pop?
Yeah. Okay. You can even go this way. Actually, this is the way to do it here. Feel that stretch? Okay. Now, as you move up, okay, here in the calf, if I want to do a gastroc stretch, what would I do?
Straighten the leg and
Okay. If I want to do a soleus stretch,
Just this.
huh?
Just the dorsiflex.
Okay. Everybody understand why?
Because soleus doesn't go above the knee.
Is actively
So yeah, so what we're doing by bending the knees, we're turning off the gastroc. Okay, and we're just stretching the soleus. Okay. Now, if we need to stretch your quads, how many muscles are there in here?
4.
Okay, what are they?
Vastus intermedius, laterus medialis, and then the rectus femoris.
Which one is a 2-joint muscle?
Rectus femoris.
Okay, so how would you stretch it?
Leg extension, knee
Okay, so how would you position the patient?
prone.
Okay, let's go prone. Okay,
Oh, me too?
put it on a
Yeah.
holster.
You all right? Can I go more or is that good? I'm just kidding.
right? Now, what you want to do is when you do that, you want to make sure that they're moved up. Wow, sweat enough. Okay, and yeah, corn. We're gonna move this over and let your leg hang over the side. Bend this knee. Bend it, bend it, bend it, bend it. Put your foot right there. Okay. Now, the reason why we're doing this, why am I doing this? I'm rotating the pelvis to lock it in, okay? So that we're not putting a lot of tension here. And we're specifically focusing on the hip. And you get the, okay?
Oh, you can let them do it.
Feel the pull? Oh, yeah. And then you can add some more. Here. Okay? Sometimes you'll see that here, see it's coming up, and you as a clinician can get in here and push down. Okay? So that you're really getting a good quad stretch. There you go, relax. So, that is a great way to get a good quad stretch. Things you want to avoid though is any external rotation. Sometimes when they're half hanging over, they want to start rotating out this way. Make sure everything is lined up. Okay? Now, go ahead, flip on your back.
Does he have to be flexed ever?
The reason why I do this is to eliminate, especially people who have issues with tightness here, they also tend to have some back issues. So this protects the back by locking the pelvis forward. Okay? All right. Fall onto your back. Now, one stretch I was teaching the other class, or the other group, you guys are going to learn what's called R1 and R2. That's resistance 1 and resistance 2 when you do some stretching. Okay? So resistance 1 is when you stretch a muscle from slack to tight. So your R1 is about here. So if you feel, grab the other side. You'll get very little resistance, and all of a sudden you start feeling some pushback. Okay, that's R1. That's when the muscle is tight. Okay, you took up all the slack, but you're not pulling through the muscle tightness. So you go from here to about there. Okay, Now, everything past that is your R2, your resistance 2. So this resistance 2 stops about here, okay? Try the other side. Okay? Now you feel good resistance, almost like a firm end feel.
Yeah.
Okay? Now this is what I want you to do. Come to here. Nice and straight. What I want you to do is I want you to dig your hand into his palm, dig your heel into his hand as hard as you can for 3 seconds. Push, 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 now relax. Okay? Notice you're gaining more range of motion. So you get push, 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 push. Relax. One more time. Push, 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 push. Relax. Okay. Now notice you get to an end point. Okay? But now what happens is, now we did that. This was his end point before. Okay? But now we're going to get up to here. Now so here's where his pelvis begins to come up. This side we haven't done. So this side, first resistance is about here. R2 is about here. Now if I go any further, we're not getting anywhere. Okay? Right. So we're not getting anywhere. I'm going to stretch it. Okay? But that is contract, relax, stretch, and you can gain a lot of range of motion. Okay? Especially before an athlete does any type of activity. Usually running or the hamstrings are the tightest ones. So that's a great stretch to do before you go do an activity like that. Okay? You can do that with pretty much any 2-joint muscle. Okay? And to gain more range of motion. Okay?
I heard research that you lose force production with stretching before an exercise.
You do. Okay? Because as you stretch things out, you don't have all these little, all the connections grabbing the muscle, okay? But you also reduce some risk of injury because you're more flexible. Okay, the tighter your muscles are, they're stronger, but they can't contract as much, okay? So you lose range of motion, but if you get into an injury where you're going one direction and force is going the other direction, they can only loosen so far. And that's when you start tearing things. Okay? Any questions? Start practicing with each other. Start stretching each other out.